Hi everyone, it's Heidi from Flutter by Heidi, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator based here in the United Kingdom, and today I'm doing masculine cards, and the reason is that it's my youngest son's 18th, and so understandably I'm going to be making cards for him from the family as usual, and I decided I'm going to use some of the fabulous new products that we've got available to us. Some of them are old, some of them are new, and some of the things I used were old. So I'm going to show you a couple of the cards that I've made, and then I'm going to go on and do a version using current Stampin' Up products. So this one is just a bit of fun using our stitched stars. This is a non-Stampin' Up stamp set, I have to say, because he has a mini and he's mad about his mini. It isn't an old style one, but his is silver and has black accessories on it. So for an 18th birthday, obviously we do have a bit of fun. So I thought Geared Up Garage was perfect for him. Didn't have a mini in Stampin' Up, but hey, you know, these images are great for anybody who loves cars. This one obviously is designed as a bit of a Father's Day one, but all of these images are absolutely great for any car lover. And of course, because it is his birthday, you have to personalise a card, and so this is the card I've come up with. So this is using the new Playful Alphabet. This is a super size, as you can see, easy to get a full name onto a card, and I've gone a little bit bigger as I tend to for special birthdays. I've gone up to a 5x7 card, and I've actually used some old product on this, but to get the same effect I'm going to show you a couple of things that you can do. So here I've used, it was called galvanized metal, I think, a little while ago, and it's just got a nice bit of shine on it, and we've also got the same one I've used here, and this is using these fabulous new dies along with our new sheets. So these are what are they called? Foam adhesive sheets, and basically they are sheets of our 3D foam, which means that you can stick it onto the back of some card and then die cut all the way through, and then you get a fabulous 3D effect without having to cut lots of little strips up as well. So I'm going to do a version of this card because this is some old DSP that I've got here, a masculine one from a little while ago. I tend to keep masculine ones. Having boys in the family, I just want to make sure I've always got something that will suit. I've actually added a bit of dimension onto this by cutting multiple dies and gluing those together. And you'll see I've created my own background here, and I'm going to do the same for the stripes on our card. So I'm putting I just want to share those Playful Alphabet dies because I think they are a great one to have. I still have my old ones, and then the banners, new punch coming called Pick a Punch, and it either does flags or it does the obviously opposite end of a flag, which I rather like, these kind of pointed ends. Half, 3/4 inch and an inch in each, so again 6 punches in one, dead easy. So let's get started then. So I'm starting off with some Very Vanilla. I thought I'd stick to the same because we don't use Very Vanilla very often, and I'm just going to stamp in Smoky Slate with a couple of those images just to create our background. So I'm just coming in, now I have, as you can see, put an inky finger on this already, so I'm going to put that in the top where it's going to be covered up by my banners, and then I'm just going to come in and alternate, repeat stamping to give a background effect, and you'll see I'm just kind of turning the images a little bit around, and I'm alternating because otherwise I won't get the spacing right. So again, and just stamping off the side as well, so that's where you get a really nice effect. So yes, you see, get carried away with my stamping. This is the problem. This is how a very pleasant time. You can just, and obviously I don't need to cover all of that because this part is going to be covered by my banners. But it's so easy, you know, to just add an extra couple of stamps just to make sure that everything is as you want it. So I'm just going to come in just a little gap on the top there, and I'm just going to pop the ink can in there. So that's my front part of the card, which I'm going to pop to one side. And I'm just going to now decorate the inside of the card. So this is a piece of 10 by 7 card, just scored in half at 5 inches. And I'm actually going to pop my ink can. And in the stamp set there is a fabulous kind of inky splotch. And I'm just sticking to one colour for this. But I'm going to just stamp off. Oh no, it's okay. So we can just put an inky border on the side there, and then we can come in with a toolbox too. Okay. So now I've done that, I'm actually going to create my banners. Now obviously I haven't got the paper that I had, so what I've done is out of my scraps I have just cut some various strips of smoky slate and basic grey, and I've just kind of come up with a rough kind of layout. I'll probably put that like so, and what I'm going to do is, using the stamps in the stamp set, is create our own DSP. So we've kind of got the only one I haven't used yet is the car image, so let's grab that, and a block would be a good idea. Only got my largest block. Okay, so I'm going to spread these out, and this is the joy of grid paper. So on my biggest one I'm just going to kind of put some sort of car images on there, and just say with the block you can just see all the way through. So I've got kind of my tyres going down the middle, and then I can cut that to size. On my little narrow strip here, I'm just going to use the nuts and bolts. Now obviously if you're doing lots of cards you could stamp all over a sheet if you wanted to create a background. And I'm keeping, for my wider strips, I'm keeping my sort of toolbox image and just keeping this sort of tone on tone effect. And then let's have a look. I think I'll put the ink can on this narrow one here. And finally we'll just create some more of those ink splots, just to give a kind of background sort of texture, like so. So those are all of our strips of what will be our DSP equivalent. So I'm going to put my ink away before I get into too much more of a mess. And then I'm going to just come in and feed these in again onto the, so this is a standard Stampin' Up punch, just release, it folds flat, absolutely perfect. So you want to put the bottom end in, so push it all the way in, just punch, and there you have a perfect little banner. And because the slots are already there, I can just pop those in. I obviously cut that one a little bit wide when I obviously wasn't concentrating on that one. So all I'm going to do is, because that isn't quite one of my specific measurements, I'm just going to put it in and then just centre it on the top there. I've messed that up. Okay, beauty of this, you can pop it in. So I'm just going to feed it in and just hold it with my finger this time. There you go, that's better. But normally you would just feed those into the channel. Like so. Feed it in, just make sure it's lined up on the channel. And then the last one. Okay, so those are our strips. So I'm going to come in and just really arrange those in whatever way you like. I'm kind of going for a wideish one on the left hand side there. And I'm doing this before I'm attaching it to my my contrast card as well. And I'm just starting off with that edge, just making sure I've lined that up nice and square. And now, no, didn't want to do that. Oh well, never mind, done now. I was going to put a lighter one on the outside edge. Ah well, this is what happens when you change your mind. So therefore I'll put my 3 narrower ones in there. Okay, so if I come in with this one. So this is my nice long piece. So I haven't measured these at all. I have just come in with whatever scraps I happen to have in my stash. And you could layer these up however you want. And it really kind of it means that you know, you do get that sort of unique card for anybody. Now I'm just going to lift that up slightly and just pop that underneath. I'm going to come in with my strip, and I'm just using my Tombow glue here, which is really versatile and allows you to kind of layer up however you like. And it gives you that bit of wiggle room. You'll see there I just lifted it up slightly to slide my other piece underneath. Just to get our layers. And then all I'm going to do is flip that over and come in with my snips and just trim from the back. And that's going to give our banners. Now to create our thicker dies, all I'm doing here on the first one, so there's a couple of things that you can do. First of all, you can obviously cut out your dies. Now the lovely dies that go with this stamp set are absolutely brilliant. I love these. So you'll see we've got not only ones that cut out the sentiments, but we've also got these fabulous cogs and gears here. So for anybody who's mechanically minded, even if they're not into cars, if they're into engineering, these are absolutely brilliant. So I have just cut a load of those, and as I've said before, when I'm die cutting, I die cut all in one go. So I've got a little pouch here with assorted die cuts in, ready to go. And I've cut these in Basic Black. Basic Black is really nice thick cardstock, so you could use Thick Whisper White, but I wanted something that was kind of gave that background effect of sort of shadow. So all I'm doing, coming in with my Tombow, and I'm just putting little dots all over. So this is one way in which you can add glue to the back of your die cuts. So on ones like these that have got some sort of good solid portions, you can just dot it with some glue and then just pop that on top and layer up like so, because they're going to go behind one another. So that gives our basic one. Now, as I said, I use some galvanised foil. So how can you get a foil effect? Well, one of the things you can do, obviously once you've added this next layer, so I've done 2 layers of Basic Black and then a front layer, and this one I've cut out of Smoky Slate. And I've used, I use my magnetic base plate. That's the one I use more than any other on my Big Shot. Because I just find it cuts really well, and very occasionally I do use a shim on it for detailed dies. But so what we do, so this in itself looks great, or it will do if I line it up properly, you know, because you've got the kind of black coming from behind to give it a little bit of shadow effect, and you could offset it slightly if you wanted to. But I thought what would be really good fun was to kind of get a slightly more metallic finish. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with some fine tip glue, and I'm just going to colour sections of this with my fine tip glue. So I'm just kind of using this like just a bit like a pen and just coming in Now you can obviously, this will then need to be left to one side to dry, ideally overnight, because it does take a little while to dry, and I tend to put a sort of a layer and to kind of give it a 3D sort of glossy finish. But you can see here that it, you know, already you're starting to get that almost metallic looking finish. So that's one way of getting our finish, and you could do that in just sections, as I've done here. You know, you just do one cog, or you could do the whole thing in it. So that's one way of doing it. You could also cover it with Versamark and heat emboss in clear, and that would also give you a similar effect. Or you could come in, if you wanted a slightly more sort of shiny finish, if you come in with a clear Wink of Stella pen, you can get another effect. Now when you put that to one side to dry, as I say, you need to ideally overnight. This is one I did earlier, it wasn't quite overnight and I've caught it, but you'll see there's a little bit of texture, but actually that works quite well for this. So the other way you can see is to add your Wink of Stella. Now I've deliberately sort of pressed quite a bit of that through into the barrel, so I get a really good sort of sparkly finish on that. So there you have, as I say, this is one way is to use your fine tip glue pen, another is to clear and heat emboss, so clear Versamark and heat emboss, the other one is to use your Wink of Stella. But whichever way you do, that's going to add a really lovely lovely effect onto the front of your card. And again on this I'm just going to come in, I'm now going to have to pick it up, and just add some Tombow, which I've now spread everywhere. See, this is what happens when you try and get too clever. But this is just to show that, you know, you can, if you've got a card that you know, you've got an idea, you've seen a card and you kind of go, oh, but that paper isn't available anymore. It really doesn't matter, because if you use your stamps, you can create your own paper that will coordinate perfect with your project. If you've got the dies as well, then that's even better, because you're going to get a really fun effect. And then I'm just going to pop that on there. And then all that remains now, apart from the mess I've made and clear up, I'm not a tidy crafter. Never let it be said. Obviously we've got our base here, and what I've done is cut a frame. So I've shown you how to do this in some of my other videos, but basically what I do is I cut a piece of card to the size I want my layer, and then, having done that, I cut at 2 centimetres on the inside edge of the card to create my, as you can see, a frame here. That way I've then got some cardstock I can use for my die cutting, because you don't need, I've used thick Very Vanilla on this, so I don't need it to strengthen, but I do want it to create a really nice border. So I've just used it at 1/8 of an inch smaller. So on the front there, that'll be 4 7/8 by 6 7/8. And then I'm just going to add my layer to the front there. And there we have a fun masculine card without the need for using any extra DSP, but that you could create for anybody who was a car lover, or anything else. And obviously you could add a name to the front there, that whatever suited you. Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed that, and if you want to get either the Geared Up Garage or the dies or the new banners Pick-a-Punch, then just get in touch with me. Pop along to my shop at heidismith.stampinup.net or follow the links on my blog, and you'll find more information there. Thank you for watching. Come back again soon. Bye.